Chris Cillizza now has a podcast. He used to be with CNN. He was their politics editor. Did a big piece where he talked about the number of Republicans who believe that the reason that Joe Biden won was because of, quote, widespread voter fraud, was something like 74%. And he said, when you have that many people believing that an election took place because of voter fraud, well, then you have the underpinnings of our republic. It's just a matter of time before we're all just... All right? I told you, 78%, according to Gallup, of Democrats believe that Donald Trump won in 2016 because of Russian interference. So a greater percentage of Democrats consider 2016 to have been a result of widespread voter fraud or interference than Republicans feel that way about 2020. But nobody called people like Hillary Clinton, who routinely referred to Donald Trump as illegitimate and routinely said 2016 was stolen. Nobody said squat. Now Chris Cillizza is apologizing for ignoring Joe Biden's obvious mental and physical decline. Number 38.
As a reporter, I have a confession to make. I should have pushed harder earlier for more information about Joe Biden's mental and physical well-being and any signs of decline. So let me explain. Joe Biden was president from 2020 to 2024. I worked at CNN through 2022. During that time, the early part when I was at CNN, 2020 to 2022, people would Republicans would regularly ping me and say, why don't you ask more questions to Joe Biden and how he's doing? He's 76, 77, 78-year-old man. And I would sort of brush them off because what I would say is, well, there's no obvious evidence that he's declining.
Can't stand up.
A little slower. He
falls down,
but no. There's no evidence that he's declining. And
talking to dead people, dead politicians, but
and
there's no obvious
people around Joe Biden were absolutely adamant that suggesting anything.
And I believed him.
Asking the question about whether he was in some physical, mental, or both decline.
How rude.
Was offensive. How could you?
How could you? How dare you?
It's age shaming. And I think that impacted me at some level because while I did ask the question from time to time of,
questioning
not directly the White House,
Trump's mental ability is not a problem.
People around in that orbit, I didn't really push on it, if I'm being honest.
If I'm being honest. As
once I
dishonest.
left CNN and once it became a little bit more clear to me about Biden's age, I think I did write
became a little more clear to me
pretty regularly about how I wasn't sure that this guy was up to it. And then obviously after the June 27th debate, everybody, including me, was writing and talking about it. The reason that I bring this up is in the last 48 hours,
I don't want to look like a fool. That's why.
One by the New York Times and one by the Wall Street Journal that document the decline of Joe Biden. That's enough. That's enough.
In the last couple of days, there have been two articles, one by the Wall Street Journal, which I could ignore because it's owned by Fox. The other one's by New York Times, which I can't ignore because it's the New York Times. And so when you got two papers like that saying the same thing, I got to fess up. I was a moron. I was an idiot. I was brain dead. Now, challenging Donald Trump's mental ability, that's not a problem because that's Donald Trump. But Joe Biden is on our team. He's on our side. I can't. So I got to, so if I'm being honest, as opposed to if I'm being dishonest, I have a confession to make. If I want to be considered to be viable going forward, I've got to acknowledge the obvious. Otherwise, what good am I? What am I going to say? Biden just declined the last 12, 15 hours. Before that, he was sharp as a tack. I can't say that. What am I going to say? I listen to the wrong people. When people tell me around Biden's orbit that he was, running laps, I believed it, and I shouldn't have. After the debate, it was obvious to everybody. I mean, it was obvious to even Joe Biden. He said, "Did I debate?" These people. So what good are they? Same people who, if anybody at all objected to what they were saying about COVID and about the mandates and about the masks and about social distancing and about mandating that children, young people, get the vaccine and then shut down schools for 2 years. Anybody that suggested this is wrong, they were people that were denying science and were shut down. I'm still waiting for my apology from CNN when I ran for governor. Well, Larry, what do you think about mandates? Oh, no. I said, I don't believe the vaccine should be mandated. I don't believe young people are likely to contract COVID. And if they do, it's not likely to be real serious. They're not likely to go to the hospital. They're not likely to die. But that's not true, says the CNN. CDC. That's not true. Joe Johns was the reporter that I talked to for about a half hour. I said, sorry, I just don't believe that it should be mandated. According to the CDC, Elder's wrong. The facts say otherwise. Any apology from CNN, from Joe Johns? You got people, Harvard-educated epidemiologists saying, we just don't think it's a good idea to shut down the economy, shut down schools. All of a sudden, people like that were called fringe doctors when they put out the Great Barrington Declaration. This is before the vaccine. I said, look, we just don't believe that people should be refused work. They shouldn't be barred from going to school. People with comorbidities should be protected, but young people, no. To die. And
the science says he's wrong on.
Science says Elder's wrong on the.
The science says he's wrong on.
Never got an apology. Maybe I should pull out the race card. Of course, he's black, so might not have worked. Now, all of a sudden, Donald Trump is using unelected people to make decisions when unelected people ran the government for the last 4 years. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.